Howdy, my name is Paul, and since January 2020 I've been running a Torg Eternity group, beginning with 3 players, Ginger, Connor, and Andrew. Good fun folks all. A little bit about me is that I've been playing role-playing and tactical combat simulation games since 1982, and I've played, read, run, or written plenty of titles in both realms, beginning with Dungeons & Dragons and, of course, Battletech. However, in late spring 1990, I picked up a copy of Torg Role-Playing the Possibility Wars, the first RPG I ever purchased, and I was totally hooked. I ran my first game of it in the summer of 1991, and I've been running it with varying degrees of success and interest from my players ever since. Because it's Torg Eternity, the new edition of the game, and because I have good friends, this is the most successful game series I've run for Torg thus far. The premise of Torg is that a group of High Lords from various realities, along with their possibility-collecting darkness devices, have invaded our core Earth. Their goal is to collect as much possibility energy as quickly as they can. The first High Lord to accrue the requisite amount of this energy wins, becoming the Torg, the most powerful living being throughout the whole of the Cosmverse. The characters of our game are known as Storm Knights, transformed and imbued with possibility energy to allow them to oppose the High Lords and their minions, to push them back and perhaps off our Earth as rapidly as possible. The High Lords, their darkness devices, and many of their minions are experienced, however, having participated in multiple invasions before, generally alone, so this war has brought these knights into the fight of their lives and will not easily be won. Today's date is August 14th, 2020, meaning our game has been running for about 25 game sessions since January 4th, 2020, when we made characters. At roughly 4 hours per session on Saturday evenings, we've got quite a bit of story under our belts already. We originally began recording audio from our 3rd session on, though that didn't last long as the editing requirements were truly mean and I didn't have time for it, so I didn't finish those recordings. They're going to be kind of rough. So I'm going to play those initial sessions for you, then my friends and I will attempt to recount the fun of adventures between the end of the audio recording and the beginning of the video, using OBS Studio. We'll have you caught up in no time, so you can begin to enjoy the video recordings, and by the beginning of our 6th adventure, I hope to have some faces up on video for you. We're all new to this, so be patient with us, please. Original Torg Role-Playing the Possibility Wars was copyright 1990 to 95, and Torg Eternity is copyright July 2017 to present. Music, artwork, and quotes are used in these video recordings, much of which belongs to Ulysses Spieler for Torg Eternity. I will place attribution in respect to the artists, musicians, and authors where I am able to find them. Our greatest hope is that you will enjoy these. So, here we go. January 4th to 18th, 2020. Torg Eternity, Day 1, Living Land, Act 1, The Living Land, Scenes 1 through 3, Beachhead, Death from Above, and Death from Below. Acts and scenes in our game will not be announced normally, so just follow the story. These are used as an internal device for updating card stacks, healing, and adventure rewards, so they don't actually apply to how the adventure runs as we're narrating it. You might recognize those transitions sometimes, especially if you're a player or a GM. On changing an act, I might announce the change, and if there are any news items to share that are not shared outright in the game, you're most likely to find those at the beginning of the new session.
All right. Welcome to our actual 4th session of Torg Eternity. We're playing the Living Land Day 1 adventure, and we're laughing and loving this game. We're having so much fun, it's ridiculous. Now, since you've missed the first 3 sessions, I'm going to go ahead and have my players introduce themselves one at a time. We'll update you on the beginning of the game from the beginning, and then we'll carry on with tonight's game. So, Ginger, go ahead and introduce.
Hello, my name is Ginger. I play Penelope Penny Gonzalez, a firefighter from New York whose call tag is Peaches.
Andrew?
All right. I am Andrew from Georgia. I play the Edinos warrior, Sherimos Hiradan, who goes by Mo for short.
It's way easier that way. I mean, how can you even remember that? Well, I'm Connor, and I play Christopher Cross, who is a aerospace engineer currently staying in New York. I go by Chris for my character.
All right. Thank you, all three of you. I do intend to get more players in here. It's been kind of a tough thing to do, but now that I'm on the Ulysses Spiela server, I've already sent out an invite to folks. The three of you kind of pipe in as you feel necessary to get some details down. Laugh your butts off and have some fun with it. All right, go ahead.
So how this kind of started off was just me and Jin, or Peaches in this case, were around on top deck of the ferry at first.
Yes, and we can honestly agree that for our characters, they're having a very strange day.
Where was the
Oh
ferry?
yeah, it's like it started off perfectly normal, but then S hit the fan, and here we are.
Well, first there was this strange thunderclap-like thing, and the whole boat shook. It was a very violent jolt and thunderclap type sound, and all the glass blew out, and some of the crew or some of the people on the ferry actually ended up in the water. My firefighter character, Penny, was immediately to the rescue with Chris's help.
Or Ty mentioning to shed metal and stuff like that. You don't want your phone getting wet.
Right. With Chris's help, Peaches got ready to jump in the water with a life ring and rescued one of the passengers that jumped in the water. He was very violent and very panicked. Fortunately, the other passenger that fell in the water was not so panicked, and with a little encouragement managed to get to the ladder and back on board the boat. So I practically had to get into a fist fight with the other crew. Apparently he was crew. And something is very strange about this guy. He seems to have lost his mind in a very panicked kind of way, I guess. He's totally regressed. We get him back on board.
Not the Joker kind of insane, panic kind of primal insane.
Yeah, he's very simple and very primal. So, Chris, what happened after that? I got him back on board, and
we noticed the ship was somewhat starting to sink, and we also noticed that we were missing the crewman Finn, who was the engineer on board that handled the engines and stuff like that. So Ginger was taking the lead.
Oh, I did find Finn. He was pounding on the engines with a wrench. Fortunately, he didn't pound on the crew members or the rest of us. He put his wrench down and he followed along, but he's like the passenger that fell in the water. He's very confused. Very, very strange things are going on.
There's special snowflake.
Yeah, well, while we're preoccupied with rounding up the passengers to make sure they're okay, I hear something stranger is going on up on top of the deck.
Well, after we kind of went into the cabin and saw some birds, quote unquote, flying toward the ship.
Those must be some big birds if we could see them all the way from where we were.
All the way on the other side of the river.
Yeah, they had to have been big as horses, or better.
At the time in the cabin, I actually found a gun. Wouldn't you know it?
Yeah, well, I did first aid on the captain, who was knocked unconscious by the shakeup that we had. Some of the other passengers, thankfully, are beginning to help. We've got Isabel, the police officer, and Reyes, the police officer, if I'm not mistaken.
It's Isabel. It's
Isabel Reyes. Yep.
And there is a father of some kind of priest. We've got one of the passengers who fell in turns out to be Grady and his little girl.
Yeah,
and then we've got some businesswoman and a professor. And with the way things are going on this 3-hour tour, I'm looking for Marianne. This has been a very awesome day because things are just going to rack and ruin. All the glass is blown out. There's sand for some reason everywhere. I could have sworn this whole ferry was in much better shape when we boarded it. Now there's visible rust. We're sinking.
And there's crazy things flying at us.
Yeah, these things start flying at us.
Which
That-
is where Mo comes in.
Yes, Mo, member of the Red Jaw clan, promised glorious battle, fighting the foes of Lanala, my goddess, follows Baruka, the High Lord of the living lands, who I have to admit I've had some misgivings about for a little while now, but I'm young, so I thought I must be mistaken. Yet we come down, and I'm flying on my pterodactyl, along with a couple of other of my clanmates. We swoop across this strange dead city full of tall stone and glass buildings. Ugh.
Do you know what glass is?
These strange stone and solid water buildings.
There you go.
As I swoop across, and we set our sights on this strange fish in the middle of a river that seems to be floundering, with a bunch of monkeys crawling around on the top of it. Strange hairless ones wearing woven cloth of some sort. And we come swooping in, hoping for a glorious battle, glorious kills for Lanala. Only it's really not so glorious. I mean, as we're flying over the city, I could see others of my brethren simply slaughtering these poor defenseless monkeys. It wasn't glorious. It was wrong. And as we swooped over the river, we leapt upon the top deck. Me and my brother Chikak, who landed on the deck.
Cat or peacock?
Chikak. Yeah. We landed on the deck, and there were some of these monkeys on the deck, and we had a couple cornered against one of the rails. It looked like a mother and her young or something. I was like, I'm not thinking this is right. And he's like, kill them. We must kill them all for Baraka. And I'm like, this feels wrong. And then the woman looked at me, and I was taken by the savage passion in her eyes.
Oh, right. Oh, God.
Romance
We're
card.
to that point, aren't we?
Romance card gets played as I am taken by the savage passion in her eyes, the will to defend her young. And as my companion raised his spear, I interposed myself and tried to make him back down. This unfortunately turned into a bit of an altercation between us, one that eventually ended with me tearing his throat out. But that's fine, because it gave me a chance to display my worthiness as a mate to this ravishing creature that I saw here.
While Mo and his compatriot are currently at our throats, one
While
of
he's flexing impressively for the girl.
Yes.
Two of his other companions come downstairs. One goes out, after Peaches, and the other kind of gets stopped at the doorway because me and Gary, fire extinguisher at it. It noticed and kind of promptly jumped up and noticed Mo starting to attack their brethren.
Absolutely. Glorious fight ensued. Down below decks, I didn't see any of it.
Right. Ginger, it's your turn kind of to talk about what's
I
happening.
didn't participate very much in this fight. I was busy with the captain and primitive Finn.
We were
and
attacked by
you, on the other hand,
Dinos.
You turned around and started shooting Tex. Go for it.
Yeah, well, remember, you got hit by one before that, remember? You were in battle with one.
Oh, that's right. It threw a spear at me, and
Missed badly.
Oh, yeah.
and it missed. It did miss. And I only had this pole hook, like from a piece of equipment from the boat. I did charge it with a gaff. Proceeded to try to defend myself because it was very This thing was a walking crocodile. Just started wailing out of nowhere at us on the boat. I was too busy freaking out to be effective. So what happened then, Chris?
A little, after the fighting kind of continued between Mo and the whatever the other guy's name was, the one that jumped up came back down. Now we already used the fire, fire hydrant trick once, and I was like, okay, I had enough of this. So I pull out my, gun, which I was trying to keep hidden, and shoots shoots the Adino. It goes down in one shot.
That was a nice hit, dude.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was. It was. Now, Ginger and the Adinos is still fighting. It gets a save one wound on her and some shock. And that round goes by, and I gave Ginger a chance to take it down. It didn't go down. So
it wasn't.
So I just shot it, died. So I was 2 for 2, and started to head upstairs.
Yes, and that's when I believe I noticed some of the screaming, not just from upstairs, but in the water itself. There had been a rescue boat arriving, only there was something in the water, and the boat got eaten by something in the water.
Of course, we had yet to notice this or it to really surface.
No, but I mean, come on, it's the Hudson. What could possibly live in the Hudson?
Yes,
It's
what
like the
can
sewer
possibly
of New York.
Got upstairs, saw Mo kind of dealing the finishing blow to the other, and during that time, he drew a second romance card, which he was half tempted to apply to the professor, male professor, but
that
luckily
would have been an interesting love triangle.
Would definitely.
Everybody loves the Adinos.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm kind of contemplating, should I be shooting this singing long distance cousin of Peaches, or should I just follow him? I kind of choose the latter. And
because didn't he hand over his spear to the pretty lady?
Yes. Mo, well, not his spear. Mo collected the spear from his fallen companion, former
and handed
friend,
it to Lena.
And presented it to Lena as a token of his affection, a proper weapon for her to use to defend her young. I inflated my neck sack to show my superiority over my foes.
The giant lizard star freaking flexing, okay? In a fairly unnatural way.
He's obviously preening, I think.
Yeah.
No, it was completely natural for him.
Oh yeah, I don't know what y'all are talking about. This is, and then I decided, well, I've still got 2 other of my companions. They're probably below, slaughtering the rest of the monkeys. I probably should do something about that. And you should get rid of the dead things that are on the deck. And since my former friend was laying there dead on the deck, I tossed him overboard after rifling him for his flint and steel and his spare spear. Tossed him overboard, and I went downstairs, and I was surprised to find that the monkeys had actually defeated 2 Adinos warriors.
I'm looking at this fool going like, why are you tossing them overboard? You're just gonna feed what's ever down there. It's like that's just gonna attract unnecessary things.
So I collected the other 2 bodies, ransacked them for their spears, and threw them overboard as well. And right about then, a mosasaur rammed the boat and nearly knocked me into the water.
I'm pretty sure you actually did get knocked into the water.
Oh, I did.
I was too shocked from that.
Yeah, I was knocked into the water, but luckily, Peaches had played an escape card of some sort.
I played the distracted card.
Distracted card.
That's right. That's what it was.
For her, so M16s, or what were they?
Well, the rescue boat never made it, so I went across to see if there was, with these strange lizard men attacking, I went across to see if I couldn't get their weapons. I jumped in the water, swam to the boat, and as quickly as I could, grabbed anything that I thought was useful. Turned out to be a couple, at least 2 M4 rifles, automatic
yes.
rifles,
And a couple of
and
magazines.
and what?
A couple of magazines, I think.
And their magazines. And I swam as fast as I could back to the ship because
I had turned that into a, if you'll excuse me for a moment, I had turned that into a DSR, dramatic skill resolution, and you rolled just amazingly outstanding. So you were like able to get to the boat, get the stuff that you needed, and swim back in no time at all. So that was pretty neat.
Yep.
Yeah, it was an exceptional feat of strength. In fact, I did roll very well, and now I felt better now that we were better able to protect ourselves on the cruise from all these strange creatures. I didn't quite expect what happened when one got back aboard the boat. He was feeding his companions to the mosasaur.
Which I was saying the entire time was a bad idea, but to this, to this dinosaur, it was just squawk, squawk, squeak, squeak.
Yeah, squawk, squawk, squeak, squeak. Yeah, chirping monkeys. So luckily the mosasaur, when there was a big splash on the other side of the boat where she jumped in, and I fell on this side of the boat and splashed, and the mosasaur was luckily feeling pretty fat and sassy, and dove down deep and swam around a little bit to make sure that there wasn't anything actually dangerous to it going on, which gave me time to get back up on board and gave her time to swim out there and get back on board. And she had crawled up on the back deck near where I was. I had crawled up on the deck and was standing there glittering in the sun as it reflected off my scales and the water shedding off of me, looking
like a drawn rat.
Looking like
flexing some more for Lena.
Flexing some more. It should also be pointed out that as an Adinos, I was 7 feet tall and 400 pounds of mostly like scaled hide and muscle.
Yes. So now you're glistening.
So now I'm glistening from the water, as scales don't ever look like drowned rats. That is things. that is for things with fur. And right behind me, the mosasaur apparently decided maybe it was still a little hungry, and it leapt up out of the water and landed on the deck right behind me.
Yes, well, you did prove that your kin are delicious by feeding them to them.
Well, that's true. He ate plenty of you monkeys too, so I'm sure he.
A bit of both worlds.
Yes, well, having still more of a bad day, the only thing I could think of to do was immediately open fire with my newly acquired M4 on the great big huge thing that was trying to eat the boat and everyone in it.
Which you did fairly well.
Mosasaurs have lots and lots of teeth.
Lots of teeth. Matter of fact, one of them took a swipe at Lena.
Yeah. So the people who were right next to the mosasaur was me, Mo, and Lena. I opting to be the the farthest back and shooting from a bit of a distance.
Well, but Chris wouldn't make much more than a little snack for that mosasaur.
Oh, yeah.
So the mosasaur decided to take a bite out of Mo, which he did with considerable gusto. Mo is large, but his movements are deliberate. He is not exactly what you would call graceful.
So
basically, he did put the woman behind him and made every effort to protect her. And that's something even I could notice from the boat landing where I was.
So for those of you keeping up with game stats, Mo took 3 wounds and 6 shock. Then he rolled reality for a soak and managed to get rid of all of it.
It
cost a possibility, but he did.
I'm pretty sure.
It cost me a possibility, but I managed to completely get rid of that. Was it just 3 wounds? I thought it was more.
No, it was 3 wounds and it was 6 shock, but it wasn't only one possibility. You also played a card into that, or somebody played a card into that. I don't remember.
Ginger. Ginger played a supporter card.
Yes.
Yes. And that's how you got rid of all.
And that's how I got rid of all that. Then we proceeded to fight another round.
And he got hit again for
we
Almost.
had me, Stabbit doing just about as much damage as Peaches did with her M4.
Oh, one shock
shock.
point at a time, or
One
one
shock
or
point,
two shock at a time.
two shock points at the time. At which point, Lena stepped forward, and my beautiful Lena,
Using the spear you gave
using
her.
the spear that I gave her,
Yep.
stepped forward and dealt a horrendous blow to this beast, doing like 2 wounds.
Yeah, it was
and
2
some-
wounds and some shock, 4
and-
shock.
Yeah, 4 shock.
She was pretty amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, she knocked it out of the park. Yeah, and then Chris like banged off that little metal thing that he's carrying. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get him a real weapon.
And but I do remember this one, one fact. Mo was nearly hit and killed pretty much by the Mousesaur's attack.
Again,
But he had played the
Mhm.
enemy fails or something like that.
mhm.
And we
Opponent
concluded that he slipped in his own puddle of water that was, sliding, because he was recently in the water. He slipped and barely dodged the Mosasaur's attack by it missing because he
Mhm.
slipped.
I prefer to think that the Mosasaur slipped, and I ducked low under its jaws while it was flailing.
Yes, that's your story. And
That is my story, and I'm sticking to it. At which time, I believe Peaches ripped off another round from her M4, doing 2 more shock.
This we just said
she was
is done.
bang on with it. She was bang on with the accuracy.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Terrible
Kinda
with the
hard to-
damage.
But-
Kind of hard to miss something the size of a bus.
Mhm.
Yeah, but apparently those little bitty 5.56 bullets just did not have the penetration to get through that thing's hide.
No,
Yep,
no.
still nickel and diming it.
Still nickel and
I-
diming it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
who was it that finally did the blow that knocked it unconscious?
That would be
That
Chris.
was.
Wait a minute, who? What?
Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, your pistol took it out.
And
La
then
pistola.
we kind of made sure to kill it by giving a couple more rounds.
Yeah.
Well, the gun I had was on automatic, but yeah, I did not want that thing getting back up.
Well, that's the fate of anything in a fight. Kill or be killed.
Mhm.
Mercy is for the weak. Yeah. So we killed it. I plucked a few of its teeth out so that I could make a necklace for Lena for later. And since she did the most damage to it, and in my opinion, she killed it. It just bled out slowly.
I just didn't know it was dead for a while.
Just didn't know it was dead for a while. And so after Lena killed the beast, I plucked a few of its teeth out. And then the ship decided to start sinking in earnest.
This
And
is
it was time to
true.
go.
And it was time to
It
go.
was time to mosey on out.
The universe, if it had a divine being whom was directing the way that things are, said, move along.
Yes, fortunately, the Mousesaur in its shoulder punches to the boat had
Got us
actually led
close
us
enough to
closer
swim.
to shore, so
Yeah.
that we made a little the flotilla. I and the police officer and Chris helped kind of fabricate a little flotilla out of the remaining life rings and such, and we floated across to shore.
Okay.
Yes, this was
Alright.
all of the passengers on the boat that we could find. Grady
Yep.
and his daughter Amber, the priest, a professor, doctor, a businesswoman, and 2 primitive crew members, the captain. Who am I missing? Oh yes, Lena's son.
Lena and her son.
Yes, Lena. and
Now
his
wait,
son.
wasn't there a teenage girl who liked to be whiny about being on this cruise in the first place?
That was Amber and her father who fell in the water previously.
Okay.
And yeah.
I don't think
Oh.
she was whining about it. I'm pretty sure it was the businesswoman was actually the one whining about it. I need to get to
Oh.
work and
Yeah, and so was Wade. In fact, Wade was whining about being here.
oh yeah, I mean he was
The teenager.
freaked out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thankfully,
Lena's son was all whiny about it too.
yeah, thankfully, I can't understand a word he says. So, uh,
Uh,
so, so anyway, they create a flotilla. They put all the flotation cushions together. And Mo just does not understand this. You know, if you want to make a dash for safety, you need to send some of them that way and some of them that way, and then we should all make it. The ones that aren't picked out. Luckily, the mosasaur probably attracted all the other predators to scavenge on it. I mean, that's easy. That's easy meat. They don't have to chase. So,
well, not only that, aren't mosasaurs territorial?
a little bit.
Yeah.
That one had only been in the territory about 15 minutes. So.
yeah, but I wouldn't have challenged it for its territory if it hadn't been eating the boat and all of us on it.
I would have, but
yeah, but you're not from around here. Anyway,
I'm not from around here. That's just a mid-sized lizard, as far as I can tell.
Oh.
Yeah. So
the rest of us are in for quite a shock.
Yeah, the rest of you are in for quite a shock.
All right, we're going to take a short break here, friends, so that we can kind of catch up on what's going on. Let's make sure that I've got everything done. Okay, there we go. So that was a short recap of what happened in the first act of Living Land Day 1. Again, I'm not always going to stop the recording and do these recaps. So we're going to go ahead and move on to Act 2. And hopefully I can get myself together here. All right. We're getting to Act 2, called Manhattan. It's titled Manhattan, for which there remains a bit of back explanation to do by the players and I, but soon enough we'll be back into the roleplay in the last 2/3 of what was done on the 8th of February on the recording here. The remainder of tonight's play covers about half of Scene 1 Concrete Jungle from Act 2. So let's go ahead and get down to it.
We make it to shore, and shore has turned into a weird combination of rusty, falling apart New York that they know versus
modern high-rise and primal with jungle.
Yeah, primal jungle.
For early, it was cool this early spring day. Now it's got to be steamy in the 80s or 90s, 100% humidity. It's just hot. And
oh my God, it's
really nothing like Houston or Texas
tropical.
in general.
Yeah, like the Houston coast or the Gulf of Mexico coast.
So anyway, Mo starts looking around to get his bearings, and he looks to where he can see the Maelstrom Bridge, which brought them here, where it came down in some sort of large bowl-shaped stone construction that had a grass field in the middle of it. We came down in that, and I looked to find that because that was exactly the direction we don't want to go. And I was trying to make sure that all the rest of them understood that we don't want to go that way. But these monkeys are not very bright.
Yeah, Lauren, especially the businesswoman, boy, that was just, she has a meltdown about having to get to work. Can't you see things? She might have to adapt her plans to the strangeness going on.
The strangeness adapting to her plans.
Yeah, I think Vanessa, the Doc Dimsalang.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, Dimsalang. She's the one who pretty much told Lauren to shut up. While the paramedic in the group, who's
actually Vanessa Demosalang is the paramedic.
Is the paramedic. So she said that there was a field hospital close enough by that we could probably try to find out what's going on and get help. We should go to the nearest hospital or outpost like that and see what's happening, and so we can get to where we need to go safely. And me being a firefighter, although not in my zone, I was a strong proponent for this.
And so was the police officer.
And the police officer too. We needed to get to the nearest outpost. And those of us who are first responders, like Doc Dimsalang and the officer and myself, we all need to get to the nearest place where we can volunteer our our first responder services. Chris, too, has done some forensic data recovery from his engineer work.
Tremendously useful skill.
we seriously need to get a bigger picture because things are really strange all over. It's not just the boat. And I'm beginning to wonder if it's the whole city. Is this a worldwide thing or citywide or what? I just don't know.
So Mo, after trying to explain how unwise it was to go in the direction they wanted to go,
As I just see this lizard pointing like, what? What do you want?
well, no, Chris did a very good job of seeming to catch the meaning of what Mo was trying to get across.
Direction bad, other way good.
Yeah,
we kind of did charade-ish sign language.
it seemed to work pretty well, except all the monkeys still wanted to go more or less, if not directly, in the direction of certain death. And being that I couldn't convince them otherwise because they can't understand me, they don't speak a proper language. I'm not even entirely certain that they're intelligent, to tell you the truth. They wanted to set off that way, and I thought, well, if they have any chance at all, I'll take them where they want to go, and then I can take Lena and her offspring, and we can get out of here to a safer distance where everything won't be destroyed. So we started off in the direction of this hospital, which was more or less in the exact wrong direction. We don't want to go this way. But hey, these monkeys, apparently I couldn't make them understand, and it's going to take a little while. They begin to get the picture when we ran across the squad of red jaws on an ankylosaur and a couple of triceratops.
You actually didn't see them.
Never saw them, but they heard them. And
I was looking under the car, and I saw Mo with gestures just kind of move them along.
Oh no! That was
not there yet.
Yeah, we were walking along that street, and we could hear them in the distance coming our way. The roar of dinosaurs, which I knew were the mounts for a lot of my kinsmen, clansmen.
Forgive me if I couldn't recognize a dinosaur yodel.
Lacking even the basic survival skills of a hatchling, these monkeys proceeded forward. But they recognized that sound as dangerous, and we decided to cut down an alley and try to dodge them. Where we ran into more danger, considerably more danger, actually. I think it would have been easier to take the allosaur.
Let me kind of interrupt you for a second. The map that I had set up for that was a basic street map, and it had an 18-wheeler trailer, not jackknifed, but just kind of twisted, and it had a cop car that had crashed in a giant light pole, power pole, whatever, and there was a newsstand in there and everything like that. And what they ran into were, go ahead.
There were 6 or 7 Gotex, which are
creatures like him, only wearing fancy hats.
Yeah, Edinos who are cursed to deal with dead things, practically shunned by our people, but a little bit feared too because they deal with dead things.
They might kill you too.
Possible if you get on their bad side, but they tend to be full of themselves because Baruch Ka has given them a special assignment. They were dragging bodies down the street, just had a couple of bodies by the ankle and were like dragging them down the street. And we saw them in time that everybody could duck and hide. Again, everybody was hiding on one side of a semi-trailer, and they were coming and we're going to come down the other side of the semi-trailer. And
they were going to walk right on top of us if you hadn't directed them elsewhere.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, they were coming straight to us. But the biggest problem was that Mo trying to get everybody's attention to tell them about. Because Peaches and Chris were up at the front with a couple of people hiding behind the tires at the end of the trailer, our tractor. And me and Lena and a couple of others were at the back of the trailer hiding behind the axles to the back of the trailer. And everybody else was standing in the middle of the trailer on the sidewalk. And I'm gesturing to Lena, trying to get her to warn these stupid monkeys that they are standing behind something that's open from the waist down.
I did get the signal too. I herded them back into the alley.
Yeah, Lena did most of the work.
Lena did, of course. Yes.
So
Yes.
the,
All the credit goes to her.
so they scampered off.
Well, now wait a second. The
No,
GoTac that was nearest you kept asking where the rest of your group was
Oh,
while
no,
you were
no, no,
separate
yeah.
from them.
Yeah, I haven't got to that yet. I was just referring to
Oh, okay.
the rest of our crowd that was sort of in the middle there. We managed to herd them back into the alley, but we were heard. So the guy was like, well, "There's someone there. Go kill them." And my character, not wanting them to come across, slipped up under the trailer and popped up and saw them and goes, "Who goes there? Oh, GoTac." And has a conversation with them, telling them they were asking what I was doing. I was asking what they were doing. We were both basically saying we were doing what we were supposed to be doing. They told me they were taking these bodies who had been planted with seeds for these things that the Dark Lord calls Gosbog to the location where they're going to plant them. I haven't seen these before. These are new. Some creepy ass like ally of the High Lord gave them to him, and he weirded me out.
Yeah, your
He
character did get a shudder from those seeds.
Oh,
Must be dead and alive at the same time.
yeah. It's a shame I couldn't tell you all that. The GoTac looked at me, the one in charge who was being uppity, looked at me and said, "What are you doing out here by yourself? Where's the rest of your pack?" And
Fortunately, there's another dragon yodel in the background, or dinosaur yodel, or whatever.
And I said, "There." I'm scouting
you right up. I'm telling you.
Tripped the GM right up, who thought he was going to have a wonderful fight scene. Yeah, I said, "They're there."
Nope.
And they said, told them, "Well, perhaps if we don't find any more humans to fight or monkeys to fight, we'll come help you with this duty you're doing." Which I'm sure the GoTax translated to "As soon as I can get away from you, you'll never see me again, you creepy guy."
Mm-hmm.
So, he gave me some grief. I gave him a little grief. He went the way he was going, and I went the way I was going. And as soon as they were out of sight, I jumped around the thing and motioned everybody to come on. And that's where Peaches started procrastinating.
Yes, because what had caused the traffic scene, apparently the truck had jackknifed. Yes, but there was a police car that had hit a pole nearby, utility pole of some kind. And I'm still thinking, wait, there'd be a radio in a police car, maybe other equipment as well, to help out the group. So I insisted on staying to search the car.
Well, everybody else,
the radio was not working.
included, were going, "No, let's move on. We don't want them to come back."
And I really just wanted to take just a second, guys. Radio, help on the way, 911, anybody?
Opening a trunk and doors causes noise. Noise will call them back.
I was just searching by looking in. I did reach in to try the radio.
And which, of course, was not working.
Not working. But how I did notice that there was a shotgun and some Kevlar armor, 2 sets, 2 police vests in the trunk. And so I grabbed those up. We're still trying to determine who gets what, but I'm thinking I want the shotgun.
No, you guys figured that out last week.
Okay, yeah. Who did I give it to then?
The shotgun went to Isabel Reyes, and a vest went to her as well, and then the other vest went to Crisscross.
Crisscross, good. And I put on my own armor, which is a fire flak jacket. I'm not wearing the full kit because it's just too damn hot outside. It's
way too hot.
It's like an armpit where we are.
And you're wearing the equivalent of a parka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A fire suit. It's got the reflective tape. It's pretty indestructible, but it's darn heavy and hot.
Okay.
It is made out of a nice heavy canvas type material. So
yeah, nice heavy canvas, and I am wearing a fireman's hat. I'm not wearing the pants though.
Now that hat It's not going to count for much against sharp items. I had forgotten about that. But against blunt items, it'll probably give you a +1 at least.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than that, because of course those hats are meant to help deflect falling debris.
Yeah.
Just not terribly heavy falling debris.
True, and it will give me some protection though.
Yeah.
Well, in the helmet's defense, it can protect against really heavy falling debris. The human underneath it is not able to withstand the really heavy falling
Okay. Very good point. Yeah, that
Yes,
whole
good
neck
point.
breaking thing
Yeah.
is kind of a day
Technically
killer.
the truth.
Yeah, and I have my axe and I have the other M4 carbine.
Yeah, that's correct. And then, of course, Chris has one of the M4s. I think Peaches still has 60 rounds, while Chris has 39, I think it is.
I
No,
think it's the other way around.
It's the other way around.
Okay.
But we do have the extra. I
Oh, I
have
got
all
the
the
39.
Did
Yeah.
you? Did she give you the one that had been used? Because she used up a lot of the ammo. That's
Yeah,
why
you gave me
Yeah,
one. I
one of
used
them had
to
so
use.
little.
You
my-
had explained that you wanted to kind of give up the one with the less ammo because I think it's because Chris already has a firearm. So
Yeah, he has a firearm. So I gave him the one with 39 ammo. I'm gonna change my weapons ammo back up to 60.
Okay.
And Connor, did you check your weapon to see if it has 60?
It has
I mean,
39.
Yeah.
It has 39. Okay, so mine's back up to 60. It has
Okay.
not been used. And how many clips do I have?
Well, it's 2 clips, 2 magazines, because each magazine is about 30 rounds.
Okay. I do have the clips. Unfortunately, I did not give. I should. I now think about it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I hand over one of the clips to Chris.
Thank you.
Okay. And that's to give him the 39, or are you actually giving him 30 more rounds so that you only have 30?
Oh,
That should be to give him the 39.
Okay. Yeah,
So
let's kind of keep it that way. Y'all had made that happen last week.
All right.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so
So I have 60 rounds and he has 39.
Yeah,
Roger that. That
you have
works.
2 full magazines, and he has 1 full magazine and a partial.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yes. So yeah. So Mo was trying to calmly explain to Peaches that we need to move on by hissing and making that deep alligator croak and like prodding her with the butt of his spear.
And, I get it, and I do bark at him as far as he's concerned,
Yeah.
and jump up and down a little bit. But I did manage to. I don't see anything that I think would be of use to the survival of our party. So I am mission accomplished. I'm all over cooperative, and honestly believe that Mo just saved our lives at this point.
Very big.
Yeah, we owe him one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got a possibility for that, and he got another possibility for the end of the act, the last act, for that romance card, because each act that you go with that romance card, you're earning a possibility for that. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, so that's why you've got 5 now instead of 4, like it was last week.
Cool,
Okay.
cool.
Okay.
So the doc is probably about ready to
String you all up.
and grab us by the ear and move us along also.
Yeah, with her having been a combat medic, she's kind of in a rush to make sure that everybody gets to the proper place safely. And to her mind, that proper place is the hospital where she's dropped off a lot of patients, which is only a few blocks away now. Anybody else got anything to add before I go into kind of the administrative stuff before we start the next part of the adventure?
No, I think we're pretty well caught up at this point. Oh, we did manage to arm most of the people in our group with some makeshift clubs.
Yes.
Everybody found something they could use as a club, and we picked up a couple of small items like a spare first aid kit from a boat on the dock, 2 of them. And,
oh, that's right. Total of 3 now.
And I have a riot shield. That's right. Thank you. I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, and we picked up a riot shield somewhere along the way. I
Yeah.
don't see what good that hard water shield is going to do anybody, but hey,
You might be surprised, lad. Um,
It's possible, but it's just
My guy's going Irish. I can go there too.
weird
I
dead
see.
stuff.
I do bad Irish. I'm telling you. I love sounding Irish, but I do bad Irish. When I was
Well,
a
that's
kid.
okay. Connor does even worse Scotsman.
Oh. That hurts.
Done a fast yourself, laddie.
Okay. So kind of doing some administrative stuff. All of you know loaded up some marker tokens for the your individual tokens so that you could look at them, so that you could have like your -2 for vulnerability or very vulnerable, all of that stuff. I added a couple more tokens, and I'm gonna click on Mo here and then kind of get into those a little bit. You know, you've got your aim, concentrating, disconnected, hold action, malfunction, restraint, which I've renamed grapple now, or grappled. You've got a couple. One of them is NPC being injured. One of them NPC panic. Then I've got a place to mark your possibilities. Now let's stop there for a second. If you don't want to mark your abilities on your token, you're not required to. As long as you're keeping a good track on those, I don't have any problem with you not using. They've been kind of a pain in the butt. I think it's also nice to see that you've got, you know, what power you've got available. Vulnerable, those don't show up, but those are both skulls. I got an idea from somebody on the Ulysses Spiela Discord for Torg about surrounding the high level ones, the -4 ones, for vulnerable and stymied in red. So I'm going to see about working on that pretty soon. I've added active defense in there. I don't know why it didn't. I may have to go back and rearrange those. Active defense is in there. I've also added conceal and cover. So if you go into concealment or cover, you would turn that on for your character, and then we would determine what kind of concealment and cover is available to you. I also added for dim, dark, and pitch black. So I've added I've added the -2, -4, and -6 penalties for darkness, depending on how dark it is. I also added a marker for drowning, and finally for sneaking. So if you know, you can put those marker tokens on there. You can put marker tokens on there, and you know, at any point, just let me know verbally, and then put your marker token on, because if you don't, I may not remember. Okay, because of my poetic stress, my memory is affected pretty badly, which is I'm super surprised that I'm able to run this game at all, because it requires a lot of remembering. So, well, it does.
And
Let's
a good
see.
time. It requires you have a good sense of humor.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. Exactly. That's always a good thing, you know. Okay. Now, when you all came in on the dock from the water at the ferry station, all of you had done some searching around, and Wade Bridges, the son of Lena, Colleen, was her core Earth name, but now that she belongs to the Living Land, her name is Lena. Of course, Mo fell in love with her. I just still can't figure that out. Anyway, remember that Wade was responsible for finding a cell phone also, and it was still fully
Ah, yeah.
charged. So Chris, being the engineer, the tech guy, was able to get a download of what was happening around the world, which I suppose that I can read to folks for the day one stuff. It's stuff that happened in the original Twitter account, the Twitter feed that Ulysses Spiela did for introducing Torg before it even came out. So
Yes, please. Yes, go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, you want me to go ahead and read that?
Unless
Remind us.
you'd rather one of us to, yeah, read it in, please.
Well, let's see. Let me find that again. Nope. State of the War is what I want. Duh. Okay. State of the War. War updates. Day 1. Living Land. The first Maelstrom Bridge lands in New York at City Field. The Living Land axioms extend to cover Washington, D.C., but pockets of resistance remain viable inside hardpoints. Quote unquote, welcome to the new Near Now News Network. Who are we? We are a collection of independent bloggers and journalists located worldwide. We'll be featuring stories and events that you might not have heard of. Hi there, I'm Tate Mendoza, and I'm the coordinator of NNN. I'm based out of Houston, Texas, but we have contributors worldwide. Then it goes on. It usually breaks into separate little pitches for breaking news. Breaking, moderate 5.1 earthquake shakes England, Wales, and Scotland, shaking felt as far as London and Dublin. I'm getting excited about opening day. Just 2 more days. Go Mets. Tate. Breaking, second unusual sandstorm strikes Cairo in 2 days. Meteorologists are uncertain what is causing them. Breaking, President Kent and Vice President Farrell will travel to New York to open the UN Conference on Trade and Development. Breaking, 5.2 earthquake rattles Oslo, shaking felt in Copenhagen and Stockholm as well. Breaking, rash of disappearances continues in the outskirts of Mumbai, India. Officials deny that these are connected. Breaking, civil unrest occurs in several French cities. Prophets of doom announcing the end of the world are blamed. Breaking, President Kent and VP Farrell live in New York for the UN Conference on Trade and Development. And then somebody breaks in. Sorry, folks, can't contain my excitement. Baseball is here. Updates may be sparse the next few hours. Wait, what? The broadcast cuts out just as the first pitch is thrown? Arg. Figures. Sounds like there's something more serious going on in New York. Power's out. Hope it's coming back soon. Breaking. Massive power outage hits the Northeast. NBC, ABC, CBS, and Fox all off the air. Breaking. Freak storms have developed in the Northeast U.S. Photos from Buffalo are very unusual. Breaking. Reports from Baltimore of a massive wall of storms just north of the city. Looks like they're right over Philly. Now, in the original Torg, which I'm kind of mixing with the new Torg because I really liked how they did things. In Torg Role Playing the Possibility Wars, they spread the invasion out over a total of 16 days. Well, in Torg Eternity, so that all of the High Lords could get a jump on everything, they had all of the bridges fall within a few hours instead of 16 days over 2 weeks. And I kind of agree with that. And of course, the original Torg Role Playing the Possibility Wars, it was a separate invasion altogether. So the invasion that we're playing in Torg Eternity is different from the original game that came out in 1990, which I really enjoy how they did this. But I still like to kind of run things out over a few days, probably a week rather than 2 weeks.
True.
So
It's still a more coordinated invasion this time around.
exactly. Now, what I intend to do with these war updates, and of course they don't last forever because people at Ulysses Spiel kind of got tired of typing them up. But then after about a year and a quarter, they picked up the Twitter account again, and they are still updating it to this day.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've got like 9,000 pages
Wow.
of Twitter updates. I'm kidding about the 9,000 pages, but it's a lot of Twitter updates.
It's
that I'll
over
be-
9,000.
Beatings. Anyway, that's my son's thing right there. It just occurred to me my sons are 23 and 21. And I've got another one that's actually no, Gavin's not 25. Anyway, let's get back to kind of the game. As these war updates come in, I'll kind of update you all as to what's going on depending on the types of communication you've got, which is why I'm updating now because of the found cell phone, which is now down to 50% of its power, if you'll all remember.
Oh, so I have
Excellent.
a question. What's happening in Australia?
Nothing. You've not seen anything in the about 2.5 hours since the Living Land Maelstrom Bridge landed in City Field. So even though we've been going for 3 weekends now, and we're getting into our 4th weekend pretty seriously of playing this game, your characters have only experienced about 2.5 hours of it.
I'm talking about it. Is there anything gonna happen in Australia or no?
That depends. Do you like reading the end of the book first?
Okay.
Oh, I love The Princess Bride. I really do. That was a great movie. So, let's see. Where were we?
So I'm asking Chris to see if he can find anything more local. Any news of the hospital that we're headed to? Anything local?
Well, I want you to keep in mind, it's only been probably 30 minutes since you actually found the cell phone. It's been 2.5 hours since it started, which is why you've got as much information as you do. But the cell phone was only found about 30 minutes ago. And if you'll recall from last week, Chris said that he would fire it up in the evening to get information and then again in the morning.
Giving us a wide range of time.
Yeah. That way you can find out more at one sitting than trying to find it all right away. Now, you can always ask.
Yeah, and running the battery down. That's probably a smart decision.
Right. Okay. Now, and as far as Peaches and Chris are concerned, they don't know if anything else is going on in the world, but it does sound like some of the stuff that you read may have been different than what you're experiencing. Fair enough? Now, we're going to kind of go theater of the mind for a little bit. Because I've got the next map prepared, but I don't quite want to get into that just yet. What I do want to ask is for each of you to let me know what your characters are doing now that you are away from the GoTax.
Kind of moving along, trying to get to the hospital as soon as possible. It's my immediate thought on that.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. This seems to be citywide. I'm trying to make sure that all of these people get to the hospital safely.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on the lookout for danger. I'm trying to arm up and protect the party. I'm trying to get them as fast as possible now to the most direct route as possible to safety.
Mm-hmm. So,
but again, we're on the lookout for trouble because things are really strange.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Lena and Vanessa be uncommonly capable. Okay, like they would make even the strongest, most butch female anywhere look like she doesn't know what she's doing. Okay, now I'm Andrew.
Yes.
I missed you. Please go ahead.
Oh well, my character, since we have not established a solid line of communication, I don't know why they want to go this way, but pack animals like monkeys. Yeah, I'll take them where I'll see them safely wherever they want to go, because Lena seems to be following them, though I think it's foolish, and I know she's like better than that, but obviously she feels responsible to keep this bunch safe. So I'll help her.
Okay.
All
right.
As we all know, Lena's in charge of this group. So
I think if that were ever conveyed between Lena and Peaches, there might just be a little bit of a row about that. So
well,
okay.
Lena is all about keeping her son safe. So am I. I think we'd actually be best BFFs otherwise.
Yeah, most likely. I have no doubt about that. All of you are more or less wandering down the street. The 12, including Lena, and 10 of these folks, 9 of these folks, I'm trying to place where everybody's at on the street. Mo has Lena more or less in tow.
All right. This concludes our inaugural episode of the Possibility Wars broadcast. Though this is late, I'm sure it's better late than never, right? Mind you, I'm attempting to keep each episode to 1 hour for easier listening and retracing your steps. What will happen with our intrepid survivors? Tune in to our next riveting episode for more nail-biting hijinks and good humor. All right, if you think you might like this podcast, feel free to subscribe.